Hey everybody, and welcome to MCP Soundcheck. I'm Scott.
And I'm Joe.
And today we are starting our look in the discography of Pantera. I didn't contemplate. Joe kind of wanted to originally just do their main run from Cowboys from Hell to Reinventing the Steel, but I said no. If we're going to do it, we're going all the way back, baby. We're starting from the very beginning. We're starting with the Metal Magic era. AKA the Glaze Experience, as some on YouTube in the YouTube comments have referred to it.
Sure, man.
Okay, 3 people called it that, so I'm going with it. But we gotta put a name on this shit. So for those unaware, Pantera started out in the early '80s. I don't know if it was like '79, like '80, something like that. They got started early '80s, and and especially in these 2 records, you could definitely tell they were very influenced by the music of the time, which we'll get into specific influences, because the first 2 albums, you could definitely tell an influence by a specific band in each one. But this was when they were going, well, except Vinnie Paul, he was always Vinnie Paul, but this was when Daryl was going by Diamond Daryl, and Rex was going by Rex Rocker, and then of course the aforementioned Terry Glaze. And before we go into talk about the first record, musically speaking, I just want to take a brief moment to talk about the cover of Metal Magic. If you've never seen the covers of these albums,
they're awful.
I won't say
they're a special kind of airbrush awful.
I'll say I think it's Into the Night and Power Metal. The next 2 albums we'll talk about, they actually have decent covers. These first 2 albums look like shit.
Somebody drew this in their study hall break.
Metal Magic looks like a painting you'd see on, like, you know those like those 80s, 90s stoners with the big van that would have like a big mural on it?
Yeah, but those would actually look good. This doesn't.
No, this looks like they had that mural on their van, but they painted it while extremely high.
From memory. They didn't have a picture or anything.
So, if you've never seen it, it's just like, it's supposed to be a panther, I guess, because they're Pantera, but he's not black, and I've never seen a panther with, like, peachy flesh tone.
Oh, no, man.
Oh, that's awful.
But it's
Another person has seen that record cover.
It is a really bad cover. As for Projects in the Jungle, it looked like a collage.
Yeah, that wasn't.
It looks like
they're all bad.
It looks like someone laid down. It looked like someone laid down a tie-dye T-shirt, made cutouts of all the things that were in the cover, like the logo, everything, and just pieced them together. Took a picture, and then that was the cover. It looks really bad.
Yeah, they're both really bad.
The only thing I will say good about it is the second album, which established the Power Metal era logo for Pantera. Not that bad. It needed some tweak. It definitely needed some tweaking and some like polish. But I thought it was fine.
Still looks very amateurish.
Oh yeah, which you know they did that shit freehand.
Because I mean, all these albums are essentially self-produced. I mean,
their dad's produced.
Yeah, Jerry Abbott.
Yeah, the Abbott brothers' father produced all 4 of these records.
I mean, to go there, I mean, these are not bad for self-produced records. Essentially,
no, not at all.
They sound professional.
That was the one thing I will say.
For the most part, I mean,
especially for the early '80s, to be independent and sound as good as they do is pretty nice.
The reverb on the vocals sometimes was a little shaky, but everything else is fine.
I do think with Terry Glaze, I think it worked though, as far as like the reverb. Right. I would still have like toned it down, but for what they got, I think Terry Glaze pulled it off.
Should we get into
these? Let's
open up these awful covered records and listen to what's inside and see if beauty truly lies on the inside of these records.
Okay, so we begin with Metal Magic, which again has the worst album cover they have. And I'm counting that up against Reinventing the Steel because I hate that cover. But my God, does Metal Magic have one of the worst covers I've ever seen. And remember, we like this band. We're not shitting on them out of hatred. This is out of love.
Pantera is one of my favorite bands.
But right off the bat, you can definitely tell how influenced they are by Kiss.
Yep.
Right from the opening track, because Ride My Rocket is obviously... Like, when I first heard it, I thought I accidentally put on Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely has, like, that intro and everything. But once the vocals and the actual like song kicks in, it's its own thing. I actually really enjoyed the song. I thought it had a really good energy to it. And that's one thing I will say to these songs. They may not be masterpieces. They may not be perfectly written or performed or anything. But the energy on these is really good. It's like, I think when you told me when we were talking about this, you said they definitely sound like someone's first record. And it does.
It sounds like somebody's first record.
Yes. But the one thing is always 9 times out of 10, most bands, when they are doing their first record, they usually treat it like it's this or nothing. Like, if we don't do this, so they usually put it all in there. And like I said, the energy on this song and most of the songs on this album is really good. If nothing else, you'll get hooked by the energy of it.
The primary highlight.
The primary highlight.
Of this record.
Yes.
Is Diamond Darrell's guitar playing.
Yes. I read reviews for these albums, and they all say the same thing. They're like, if it wasn't for the guitar work of Diamond Darrell,
yeah, and it's true.
Yeah,
it's the best part of the record.
There's nothing particularly interesting about these records except for the guitar work.
You have yet to get to where he fully evolves into his final form, Dimebag Darrell.
Yes, he will always be Diamond in my heart.
But the guitar work on this record is high-level glam metal guitar work.
Yeah, like I said, he really was going for broke on this one.
And Vinnie Paul, he'll catch on soon. This record's not really notable for Vinnie Paul's influence, but his drumming will become more apparent in these early records.
Yeah.
The biggest drawback are the lyrics, man. They sound like somebody's first songs.
Yeah. But you could definitely hear the Kiss influence in it, though.
Ride My Rocket, man. Like,
but it's so catchy. It's great. It's good. I like it.
These lyrics are super cringy, dude. I'm sorry.
But that's part of the charm. Like, it's like you said, it sounds like their first record, and there's a charm to when bands have these first records.
I don't think this is very charming.
I liked it.
What is your best song on here?
It was almost Ride My Rocket, and then I heard others.
That's not one of my worst songs. I thought it was pretty good, and I'm like, this is a pretty good opener. Like, it's fine. I wish,
My top song is Latest Lover.
Oh, really?
I thought that song was so catchy and fun. Like, I found myself, like, dancing along to it. And I was just laying in my bed, but I'm just, like, shimmying.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it.
That was one of my worst songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that the worst or one of?
That was the first one I wrote.
Oh, wow.
I like to Tell Me If You Want It. That was pretty good.
That was my number 2. That chorus, you gotta admit, that chorus gets stuck in your head.
And I got 2 more for you. I got Widowmaker, which was pretty good.
Widowmaker's an honorable mention.
And I really liked Nothing On.
Nothing On was fine, but that was one of the only songs where the lyrics just was like, I wouldn't call it cringe. That's the problem. I wouldn't call it cringe, but that was the only song where I felt like the lyrics were kind of like, I don't know, like I'll put it on if it's on, but I'm not gonna seek it. But Tell Me If You Want It had that I love the chorus.
Tell Me If You Want It, I think,
because I love the little whispers. Tell me that you want it.
Yeah.
That was so good, and the thing is,
all the lyrics on this record are super cringy.
And and I'll say this: if you like that kind of stuff, the little whispers or whatever, listen to that song a lot because you will not get that again on any other Pantera record in this era or any other.
Another one, to get into the worst songs, I had Latest Lover. I think I was just tired of this lyrical theme throughout the whole record because it's very much
it's about fucking.
Yeah, the whole record.
This whole album's about fucking,
and it doesn't sound like these guys really know what they're talking about.
No, but again, it's part of the charm, knowing how young they were and everything. It's so good. I love it.
And I don't like how accusatory Latest Lover is really either.
How accusatory?
And it's just kind of, it doesn't feel good to me. The other one I had labeled.
Oh, God.
Was Biggest Part of Me.
That was actually the one song I didn't like on this album.
Right?
For 2 reasons. Number 1, back to what you were saying, lyrically, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, that was.
But also the fact that it was a slow song with all these other more upbeat songs. Like,
well, they were doing the glam metal. Every album has to have at least 1 to 2 ballads.
And if I remember correctly, I think, was it track 3? I want to say it was like track 3, because they at least did the Black Sabbath thing of put it like towards the end of the first half. Because that's how, like, when Black Sabbath does a slow jam, it's always like number 3 or number 4 on the record. But no, I just didn't like it. It was just like, if I'm gonna have like these kinds of lyrics, like, I need speed is what I need to get through some of these lyrics. And biggest part of me did, and the thing is, I'll bet biggest part of me was probably the most emotional, like most like from the heart, like not about fucking song that they had. And if that's the case, and if that's the case, I feel a little bad, but I do not change my opinion.
This whole record, not good. I gave you the highlights of like the tip of this like crap iceberg. Yeah.
And one last thing I'll say about Metal Magic before we go into the next album is this was one of a case of an album that had a better first half than a second half.
Very much.
The first half just kicks in full gear with Ride My Rocket, and then by the end, it's still fine. It's still listenable, but it's just not as good as that first half.
And I do want to point out, like, they're teenagers.
Yes.
They're self-producing, so there's a lot of credit.
They're learning as they go along.
And it's just, So, obviously everything gets better from here.
To an extent.
But it's just like, this is very evident that it's their first record. Yes. And these are probably the first songs they ever wrote.
Yeah.
So.
And that leads us to Projects in the Jungle, their second record.
AKA the Def Leppard record.
Yes, the Def Leppard record. If you want to know what Def Leppard sounds like, but you don't want to listen to Def Leppard, listen to this record.
Yeah, this is very Pyromania and
Hysteria?
No. The album right before Pyromania, which I believe is High and Dry, Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Those 2 records are...
Oh, you can hear it.
Yeah. Super Def Leppard influence. And what's great is these guys are doing this at the same time, so they're actually predating a lot of these knockoff bands.
Yeah. I think this album came out maybe 6 months to maybe a year after Pyromania.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it was very close.
Close.
And that's the thing. That may not sound that close nowadays, but back then with how long it took to make a record and everything, that isn't too long a time.
Yeah.
Now, having said what I said about Metal Magic, how the first half was really good, and then the second half was just not as good. This is a case of the first half wasn't very good, and then the second half kicks in. Like, if you took the first half of Metal Magic and the second half of Project in the Jungle and put them together,
you'd have a mediocre record.
But a much better mediocre. I would say a little above mediocre. I'd say 3.5 stars. I'd say above average, but not great.
I'm gonna give you a hot take. I actually somewhat enjoyed this record. I guess that's maybe my Def Leppard fan showing.
Possibly.
But I'm
not big on Def Leppard.
After listening to Metal Magic, this was an oasis. I felt so much better and refreshed.
So does this mean you're not a big Kiss fan?
I'm not a big Kiss fan.
Okay, then I think that's definitely going to show in our rankings at the end.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Kiss fan. I like some Kiss, but not all of it. I like a lot more Def Leppard. And so I like this record a whole lot more than I like Metal Magic.
Now, Joe, here's the immortal question.
Mm-hmm.
Best song on the album?
I have 2.
Okay.
I have All Over Tonight.
All right.
And Killers. Killers was a great song.
That was an honorable mention.
That was a great song.
That was a really good song.
And I really liked All Over Tonight. I thought
that one was an okay song, but I wouldn't put it in the top.
Oh yeah? Well, what do you got in your top?
My favorite was Like Fire.
All right, let me make sure that's not in my worst already.
Oh, it's Joe's most hated song on the album.
No, I thought that was okay.
I liked it. It was a fine song. It was one of the catchier songs on the album. And to me, it was the least Def Leppard sounding, and
for
me,
getting to the core of the problem.
Well, I mentioned on here just a minute or two ago. I'm not the biggest Def Leppard fan, but I liked the song. I thought it was a fine song.
The lyrics,
nothing on this album really blew me away. Yeah, but I still
the lyrics are somewhat a little better.
Yeah, you can definitely tell their lyrics matured a little more. They're like, there's more to life than fucking.
And then this record also, again, with the glam metal trend, you have the ballad on each side.
Yes.
And that first ballad was awful.
What was the first one?
I wish I could remember the title, and I should have wrote it down.
It's not In Over My Head, is it?
I don't know, but I have that
because I liked In Over My Head.
No, I don't think it was that one. Projects in the Jungle wasn't that good either. Like the title.
I like Projects in the Jungle. That song kicked ass.
No.
Come on, man. Like Fire, In Over My Head, Projects in the Jungle, Heavy Metal Rules, and Killers kicked ass. Okay?
And
they kicked ass.
And I liked Only a Heartbeat Away. That was the better of the ballads.
That one was fine, but...
It's All Over Tonight.
Oh.
That's the
okay.
song. Sorry.
But I just can't believe you didn't like Projects in the Jungle, man.
No, I didn't.
The song.
Yeah. No, I liked the record. I thought the record was okay. I've certainly heard worse, a.k.a. the record before this.
Fuck.
But it's just... I liked the Def Leppard feel to it. I thought this was a step in the right direction. Diamond Darrell's guitar playing is still awesome.
Yeah.
Vinnie Paul's drumming is coming along.
Yeah, that's definitely...
It's starting to sound... I think this is some... I can't remember which one of these, but I started hearing double bass.
Yeah.
And I'm
the drums are definitely...
that's really early for some double bass.
Yeah, the drums are definitely starting to become a little more prominent. He's really starting to get in his groove on this one.
And I still think Terry Glaze is the weak link.
He's not bad. I just don't think he fits with this group. I think he
his voice is fine.
And he sounds different in both records. It almost sounds like when they go into a different direction.
So does he.
It's like, no, but what I'm saying is when the music goes in another direction, it seems like he tries to change his voice to sound like...
Well,
like when they go
this
through the
record, he sounds a lot like Joe Elliott.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the Kiss one, it sounded like he was trying to be Paul. With this one, he was trying to sound like Joe Elliott. My worst song on the album is Taken My Life, and I will tell you why. First of all, that is not the way you want to end a record.
Yeah.
Especially one with like some heavier songs like this. You want to go out on Projects in the Jungle, Killers, or what was the one that I said? Heavy Metal Rules. I would have gone out on Heavy Metal Rules, to be honest with you. But I didn't...
Well, and that would have been a good one to go out on. I didn't mention it. Like, Heavy Metal Rules is, like, the song itself isn't, like, super atrocious to me. It's just... the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, it's a song about metal, you know? It's kind of hard not to be cheesy when you're writing a song about a genre of music.
First off, we'll see better versions of this later in the Pantera records.
Yes.
But it's just... It was a fine song, and it would have been a much better song to go out on. Yes. I agree.
But my other problem with it is, like, okay, so lyrically, it's about, like, moving on and making yourself better. I really think they should have either changed the title, or they should have added the whole line of the chorus. It's like, I think it wasn't like, taking my life to a new level, or some shit like that. Like they really
like that song A New Level.
They really should have like done the whole thing, because when you see a song like Taking My Life,
they should have the parenthetical thing.
It sounds like it's about suicide, and it's
not.
First of all, it's very misleading in the sense of like if someone wanted to hear a song about suicide, and if you're offended by songs about suicide, well, you're probably gonna like not even listen to the song. You already decided you're offended by it. And I think it was a poor choice of title, and it's just not a very good song, and a terrible song to go out on. Like it's a decent little song if you put it like in the middle, but this is not the way you want to go out, because you want to go out on a song people will remember, and you don't. And if they do remember it, you don't want them to remember it as being boring.
Yeah, Heavy Metal Rules probably would have been the one.
Oh, if Heavy Metal, I would have liked this album so much better if Heavy Metal Rules was the final track.
Yeah, because that's definitely much more of an anthemic kind of song.
Yes.
Because they're like Taking My Life, like I think they were shooting for a big like epic song.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
It just doesn't work.
Well, it's like. Well, it's one of those.
That
things
would have been a good end side A.
It would like if they were more influenced by Iron Maiden at this point, they could have made it work. But the fact that they were more influenced by Def Leppard at this point, they couldn't make it work.
That's okay.
So now's the time, Joe. How do you rank the first two Pantera records?
I think Projects in the Jungle is number 1 out of these two, and then Metal Magic is a distance like way down at number 2.
I'm going to disagree with you. My number 1 is Metal Magic, and number 2 is Projects in the Jungle. Metal Magic was just a more fun record. I'll say this: I'd rather, if a record is only going to be half good, I like the first half to be good, because then it's like, you know, if the second half starts failing on me, I can just turn it off. But at least I got that good stuff. But if I'm listening to a full record and the first half isn't very good, and
you're
the
gonna
second half is
turn
good,
it off.
I'm probably just gonna turn it off before I get to the good stuff.
The problem is that neither of these records are really great.
Well, I mean, are they great in a technical sense? No, but they're fun, they're enjoyable, and honestly, I found myself singing along with some of the songs with Metal Magic.
Nope. You're not going to catch me doing that. Projects in the Jungle, maybe.
But not Metal Magic.
Not Metal Magic.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on the first 2 Pantera records, Metal Magic and Projects in the Jungle. Let us know what you thought about them in the comments section. I'm so excited that we did this. I really wanted to do this.
Who's right and who's wrong? All right?
Shut the fuck up. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get updates every single time a new Condish production is produced. And you'll be the first to know about it.
Yep, and expect more Pantera reviews because we got the whole rest of the discography to do.
That's right.
And things are already, there's already a rift between us. So we'll see how this goes.
All right. So until next time, I'm Scott.
And I'm Joe.
Reminding you that rock and roll never forgets. And neither do we. See you next time.